Kev G, weather overview. This is a long range discussion. Now, if you want a more detailed look at the upcoming week, check out the video below this one. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the long range past the 7-day forecast period. Try to look at next week and see what's going on with the 4th of July. And I think at least for the first 2 weeks of summer, we are going to remember it as hot and dry. Now, what's been leading up to this is for the last 6 weeks, we've had pretty dry conditions around here. So the U.S. Drought Monitor is already indicating that we have abnormally dry conditions across much of New England, and that includes Suffolk County and southern Connecticut. So that to me is a portending of things to come, because when you start out summer with hot and dry, sometimes if you don't break out of the weather pattern, it can just really just kind of feed back on itself, and you can basically get a situation where the pattern just continues to roll on and roll on. And the absence of rain leading up to the summer season, at least for the last 6 weeks, has me a little bit concerned that the forecast for a hotter summer, at least around these parts, is definitely a good bet. So I am starting to think that at least for the first 2 weeks, we're going to be locked in a pretty warm to hot weather pattern. Now, the Climate Prediction Center, they've been touting this as well, and they've been doing a great job this entire year. This is their 6 to 10 day outlook. They have a high probability of above normal temperatures. And when we look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, it's much of the same. In fact, they kind of expand the area of above normal temperatures to include the Great Lake, much of the Great Lakes states. Look at that, all the way back to the Dakotas. And this is going out all the way to 4th of July. So I think that a warm 4th of July is a pretty good bet to hot even. As we get closer, we'll see what the temperatures actually bring. But don't expect a lot in the way of rain, and be prepared for hotter than average temperatures to prevail not only this week, but it looks like into next week. Now, when we look at the day-to-day off the upper air maps, now I know that everybody doesn't understand it, much like a weather nerd would, and be all fascinated with how these maps evolve. But what I will ask you to take away from this is the fact that the pattern that made it very warm in the winter is actually looks to be dominating again for the summer. We have a ridge in the east, we have a trough in the west. Now, is this going to hold the entire summer? Probably not. We're going to see fluctuations. But as we go through time here on the weather model, we're all the way out to the 4th of July, and this ridge is very stubborn in the east. It doesn't want to move, and as a result, it's going to pump in a lot of warm, humid air, and I think that the chances for rain are going to be few and far between through the next 7 to 14 days. And I think that's what you can expect in a general sense, just looking at these maps. Now, as we look at the day-to-day, they're tracking the temperatures here, against the averages. Now, I zoomed it out to this Friday, and you can see that we have a chance that much of the region will see, near normal temperatures and not a terrible amount of humidity. But then as we go through time, the hotter than normal temperatures take over. And this is all the way out to next Sunday, and you can see a quick return to above normal temperatures, and it looks like they are here to stay through much of the long term. So when you match up the Climate Prediction Center, this is all the way out to the 4th of July. This would be, if the model's right here, this is going to be a steamy 4th of July. But if you just take everything into consideration, all told, with the hot and dry conditions that have prevailed and the weather models, the way they're shaping up, along with the Climate Prediction Center, I think you can make a fair guess at this point that for the next 2 weeks, we're looking at hot and dry conditions around here, and the chance at above normal temperatures is quite high, with pretty high values of humidity for the most part, few in the way of opportunities for thunderstorms. The better chance would be inland, but that'll just have to be a day-to-day thing. But as far as the overall temps, looking very warm to hot to start the first 2 weeks of summer.